my channel. Today I want to talk to you about how you can become a textile designer even without a degree. Now the reason why I'm so passionate about this topic is because I became a textile designer myself without a formal degree in textile design, so I know from personal experience that it can be done. So now it will be a lot easier to make the switch into textile design if you already have another design degree. For example, if you are a graphic designer or a web designer or any other kind of designer, you already have the foundations down for good composition, good color, good layout, and all of these things that you are going to need when you become a textile designer. You know how to put a portfolio together and all of those things, so that is a really great foundation to have rather than if you just majored in English or in business or in Spanish or in some other field. So if you majored in a totally non-related field, it's not to say that you can't become a textile designer. You're just gonna have to do more work to learn the foundational basics. Okay, so let's say for example that you are a graphic designer, but you want to make the switch into textile design, which is pretty much what I did. So I can tell you exactly what you need to do. So step number one is you need to build a portfolio that is geared towards textile design. That's pretty obvious, I think, but that is step number one. So if you're a graphic designer, you probably already have a portfolio that is full of graphic design stuff, but an art director is not going to be able to look at your graphic design portfolio and be like, oh, like this person would be great in textile design. Like they're not gonna make that connection. So you really need to spell it out for the art director and show with your portfolio that you can do the job of a textile designer. You need to have lots of prints and patterns, and whatever field you wanna be in, whether it's home decor or apparel or whatever, you need to have some mock-ups in there. And I have another video that's all about how to have a great portfolio that you can check out here. I get the question a lot about whether or not you need to be good at drawing to become a textile designer, and the answer is actually no. So I tend to do a lot of drawing in my textile designs because I come from a fine art background and I just simply love to draw and I love to create work that way. However, I worked with lots of colleagues that actually didn't do any drawing in their designs. So they played more with shapes and used Photoshop and Illustrator, maybe the pen tool, to actually create their patterns that way. So you don't have to do any initial drawing to become a textile designer. So one of the reasons why I say that you really don't need a degree, especially another degree, to become a textile designer is because there are so many free or very cheap resources available online, you know, especially in comparison to getting a formal degree at a university or college. So for example, you can start out for free on YouTube researching lots of how-to videos on how to create patterns, how to create repeats, how to use Illustrator and Photoshop if you are new to these programs. You can also sign up for Skillshare, which you'll find in a link in the description, so definitely check that out and you get 2 months free, so you can totally try that out with my link. But Skillshare also has loads and loads of classes taught by all kinds of super successful artists. And so this is another great resource to have when you are trying to teach yourself textile design. On top of that, I've created my own masterclass specifically for people who are very serious about making the switch into textile design. So you can also check that out. There's a free training and a link to my masterclass down in the description below. You don't want to miss it. Okay, so definitely check that out. When you actually do the research on how much a 4-year degree in textile design costs, especially if you go to a more well-renowned art school such as SCAD or RISD, it is well over $100,000 in student loans, potentially. So you definitely want to check out my course, Textile Star. It is literally a fraction of the price. So if you're serious about getting into textile design, you definitely want to check that out. My next tip is to just get any kind of job that you can in textile design so that you can have some work experience on your resume and to talk about when you're interviewing for a textile design job. So you can, maybe get some freelance gigs. You can offer to maybe even do some work for free or for a very low cost up front. so that you can just get that experience and that practice working with clients, and that way you can just really snowball, and it'll have the snowball effect and will really start to build up your experience. And yeah, I just find that work experience is so much more important than school when you're interviewing and trying to actually get a real job. I really have to say, at least in the US, my generation definitely got screwed when it comes to student loans, and it is just a huge crisis. The student loan crisis is affecting all of our lives. It's preventing us from buying homes, getting married, all huge things that our parents were easily able to do in the 80s. So that's why I'm so passionate about this topic, and I really think that it is revolutionizing the way that we learn and the way we think about higher education. So I'm not saying that you don't need any college at all. I do think that higher education is important. However, it's sometimes hard to know exactly what you want to do when you go straight into college after high school. For example, I knew I wanted to be creative, so I was an art major, and then I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just major in graphic design because at least I can get a job in that. I didn't even know what textile design was. So sometimes we figure out what we actually want to do and narrow that process down after we've started working, which is totally okay. You don't need to go back to school for that. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that bell if you liked this video. Give me a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. Also, I have a free Facebook group that I would love for you to join, so be sure to check that out for more tips and updates. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.